You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Hello, welcome back to the Unstoppable Actors podcast. I am so excited that you are tuning into this epic episode. We are going to be diving into how you can express your emotions clearly. I did a free workshop last week, which was all about the 3 steps to getting your next paid acting role within 2 months. And one of the things that came up in that workshop is that a lot of people were feeling quite anxious about whether they were expressing emotions clearly enough, whether the emotions were reading to their audience members, to the director, whether they were even hitting the emotions or not. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to address that in a podcast, because as I always say, if a few of you are experiencing these anxieties around emotions, then more of you are. And this is the best place to unpack that. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. It is so bloody good to have you here. I'm so excited that you have come across the podcast, and I hope you will stay with us for many, many, many episodes. My aim is to help you become an unstoppable actor. Now, before I do dive into how we're going to express emotions clearly, I need to let you know that we have got applications open for a limited time for the autumn 10-week method acting module, which covers audition technique. This is a phenomenal module, and I share with you, I coach you and guide you with the exact method acting exercises that you need for all the different types of auditions, such as self-tapes, TV and stage auditions, open auditions, workshop style auditions. So you go into every single audition confident, doing your absolute best and with zero nerves in sight and fully immersed in the character. This is the training your career needs if you are absolutely serious about getting paid acting work, because our students have gone on to fill up their CVs with high-paying independent films, and then they've progressed on to TV day player roles. And then that's opened up more doors for them, and they've then gone on to get guest lead roles in TV. And you know what happens when a casting director sees a TV credit on your CV? You're more likely to get called into the room. You're more likely to be given even more opportunities. So if this is what you know you need in the next step of your acting career, get an application in by clicking the link under the episode. You can be from absolutely anywhere in the world to apply for this training, which takes place on a Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. UK time. So let's dive into the episode then. I want to share with you some feedback that I offer students who train with me in the 10-week method acting modules when they've done a scene, especially one that requires, when I say emotions, obviously all scenes have got emotions in them, but I mean emotions that are a bit more intense or they're a bit bigger. So I'll usually ask them, what was your intention with the scene or the character? I tend not to ask them about the emotion. So I'll ask them, what was your intention with the scene or the character? And then they'll explain to me and they'll tell me what they felt. Now, if that emotion wasn't reading, I'm honest with them in a compassionate and kind way and tell them that it wasn't reading. And what I mean by wasn't reading is we just don't see the emotion. We don't feel it as the audience. We don't see it being expressed. It seems like it was missing. Now, this is not to say that the actor didn't actually feel it, because they may have done inside. But what's happening on the inside isn't always usually what's showing on the outside. So usually actors who have had trouble expressing themselves growing up, in family life or whoever they were brought up with, they'll find that they're either playing the emotions far too small and it's not reading, even though it feels really big to them, or that on the opposite end of the spectrum, they play the emotion really big and quite shouty and it comes across hammy. So which of those two camps do you fall into, first of all? Maybe you don't even know, because maybe you've not even had the feedback, but it's vital that you do discover which camp you're falling into. what we have to do with emotions is we've got to find the peaks and troughs of them, because emotions have a journey and a life of their own. When we find the peaks and troughs, then we can express it with clarity. Clarity is one of those words, I've mentioned it in podcasts before, episodes previous, but clarity is one of those acting words which means clear. So remember, as we move forwards with this, there are actually very many different ways to express emotions. So if we dive into anger, for example, because this seems to be one that either actors fall into the camp of it's really easy for them to connect to, or anger's one of those that they find really challenging to connect to. But anger is it's got a lot of energy around it, hasn't it? So when we're talking about there being different ways to express emotions, if we take anger, it doesn't always have to be shouted. You don't need to get loud and big with anger, because we can have a seething anger. We can have an internal anger that we're trying to hide and cover up with something else. We can have a raging anger. But when we are playing a raging anger, when we're expressing that, you've got to understand that we only get to that when we've reached the absolute ultimate level of conflict. So something you can do is you can chart the emotion, so you can start to see that it has a little journey, which will stop you playing it on one level, and it'll stop it being so small that it's not reading, and it'll stop it being so big that it's hammy. So where does the emotion start? And then how does it evolve? And that's usually what actors are missing, because, as I've said, they're playing it on one level. Now, when you start charting the emotion, please do not get logical about it, especially not when you're in the scene, when you're playing out the scene, because logic has zero place in scenes. When we're logical and we're observing the emotion and we're trying to play it in a prescriptive way, in the way that we've written out in the script, we're engineering it, which means we're not fully immersed in the performance. So what you have to do with all prep work is do the prep, forget the prep. That's quite a hard concept for actors to get their head around, because they think they should be clinging onto it for dear life in the middle of a scene, but you don't need to. All emotional work has to be preceded with relaxation. This is the next step in how we're going to express emotions with clarity. So it's something that we need to be doing before we even get into the scene. Now, for those actors that train with me on the 10-week method acting modules, we spend the first hour of class doing relaxation, because what we want to do is get the actor out of the head and fully present in their body and into their imagination. That's it. And the students who train with me on these 10-week method acting modules also have to do the relaxation exercise every day for 15 minutes as part of their ongoing assessment. And the reason being is because it trains them to be present, as I've already said, but it's preparing them for future roles. And whilst they're not engaged in a scene every single day of their life, it's making the habit of being present and being in their body and being in their imagination stronger than being in their logical mind, which helps them stop engineering emotions in the middle of scenes. And this is something I encourage you to do. I encourage you to do relaxation every single day for 15 minutes. Obviously, if you know you need help with this and you don't know what the exercise is and you don't understand it and you need guidance and feedback, get your application in. Go and click that link after this episode is finished and get an application in, because that exercise alone is a game changer. The reason it is because presence is the only way to get to the heart of the emotion and express it with clarity. Now, there's one final thing that I want to leave you with before I wrap this episode up, and that is not to demonstrate the emotion. So if we take sadness as an example, demonstrating it would be putting your face in your hands. It's not truthful. It's not truthful for you. It's not truthful for your audience. And then all it's going to end up doing is making way for you giving yourself a hard time at the end of your performance. And that don't build confidence in your abilities. And we need you to be as confident as you can be in your abilities, because when you're confident, it has a knock-on effect to the business of acting, because then you will be more proactive in searching for castings. You'll be more proactive in writing off to casting directors, writing to agents, networking, finding opportunities that are not just on casting sites. So all the exercises that I've mentioned in this episode are ones that we use in the 10-week method acting modules. And then there are further ones that we use to help you with emotions, which are substitution, personalisation, and effective memory. Now, if you want guidance with these, as I've already said, go and submit an application for the autumn 10-week method acting module, because that starts Wednesday the 18th of October and it ends Wednesday the 20th of December. This is going to set you up for a cracking 2024. You will enter 2024 feeling absolutely bloody amazing. We've opened this up to people from around the world because we've created a hybrid class. So some students are going to be online and others are going to be in person in the Sheffield studio. There's no limitations with this. So the application link is under the episode. I really hope you found what's in this episode useful. It's given you food for thought and it's going to make you really think the next time you pick up a scene that's got some strong emotions in it. I'll see you soon. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.